All right, so the topic of this video is how to buff and cover a floor. All right, so this floor has already been sanded and it has one coat of finish put on it. This is an oak floor, 5 inches wide. And when I run my hand across it, it's rough. It's got grain raised. Now, I just sanded and finished this floor. And what I did was put a seal coat on it. Now, sometimes the seal coat sets in perfectly smooth and you're good to go and you can just put your finish right on top of it. With this particular floor, under the conditions that I had, with the sealer that I used, I can feel a little bit of grain raised. It feels rough and I don't like that. So what I'm gonna do is buff and cover it. And what I'm gonna use is a 16-inch buffer. I've got my vacuum. I've got my buffer head, which is the flat head with the little piddles on it, so it can hold my white driver pad. So this will go in here. All right, and then I'm gonna use a 220 grit screen. This is a fine screen. I'm not trying to sand this floor at all. All I'm trying to do is knock off those piddles. This will go in here like that. I'll hook it onto my buffer and then we'll buff it. So basically I'm just lightly abrading the top surface, knocking off those piddles, getting this whole floor super smooth. And then I'm gonna vac it and put down 2 coats of waterborne finish. And I'm gonna put those finish coats on back to back. One on top of the other. The finish I'm using today is Borne Omega 1 satin finish. And I'm gonna be able to put 2 or 3 coats on today, one on top of the other. No vacuuming in between, no buffing in between, no nothing. All I have to do is get this floor prepped, get it buffed and vacuumed good, and I can put down as much finish as I want to. Let's get to buffing. The reason I went all the way around the room initially with the buffer was because I wanted to run that buffer head right up against this edge so it's smooth all the way up to the edge. So I don't have to do any hand work along the edge. But with that 16-inch round buffer, it doesn't get up into the corner. I can feel it's still up there. So I take my used 220 grit screen or a new one, whichever you prefer. You just quickly touch the areas that the buffer was not able to reach. See? Smooth along there, smooth in the field. So you just got to hit these corners right quick with a quick hand touch up and you're done. And you can go straight to vac. That's why you always want to do as much work with the machines as you can, because that leaves a lot less hand work. Notice how fast I'm buffing here. Okay, this is not like a slow grinding buff and cover that you do before you put on your first coat. There's already a coat down. So
we're moving really quick, and you'll see how fast I move through this entire room. You just want to quickly run that 220 over the surface and knock off any dirt or any piddles or anything that's on the top surface. This is not a sand. We're just trying to smooth out the top. So you'll see how fast I go through this room. And you don't want to let the buffer rest in any one place. You quickly move it back and forth as fast as you can and keep on going.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about right there. That is super smooth. That 220 grit screen just leaves just perfectly smooth. Just give it a good vac and it will just be glossy and glassy and smooth looking. The homeowner's gonna love it. After you finish running the corners and edges, wherever you find a rough spot with your 220 grit buffer screen, it's time to do a final vac. Now I've got my backpack back and my wand attachment, and this head has got the fabric bristles that are really great for final dust. The system is designed for dusting, for fine dust on hardwood floors. So definitely invest in one of these if you're going to do a lot of floors. If you're just a homeowner doing this yourself, you can rent this at Home Depot, I think. Now the thing about your final vac is it has to be extremely, ridiculously thorough. Now the way I start is the same way I started my buffer. I'm going to go around my edges first, all the way, and then I'm going to turn down this wall, go all the way down, all the way back. You always hit the same strip twice when you're vacuuming, and then back down. And from there, I can stay in line, and I don't have to go all the way to the edge. Because every time I touch that edge, it can suck dust right out from that baseboard up onto the floor. That's why I went across like that. Go ahead and get that over with. So now, I don't go all the way. And then you overlap your strokes by like 50%. So you're really vacuuming the entire floor twice or 3 times. Can't stress this enough. It has to be extremely clean. If there's any debris on the floor whatsoever, the homeowner's not going to like it. So take your time, get it right. If you're vacuuming 1,000 square feet, it's going to take at least an hour. So don't try to rush it. Be extremely thorough. That way when you put the polyurethane down, you'll have a smooth. All right, so after you get everything vacuumed, it's time to go ahead and put down our finish. Today we're going to be using Mega 1 Satin by Borne. This is a waterborne finish. It's about 500 square feet to the gallon, and it comes with this little filter. So what you do is you shake it up, give it a good shake, take your top off, and you put your filter down in there. That stops any debris that might be in there from coming out. And what will happen is the waterborne will dry really quickly, which is the reason we love it. And it also lays down really smooth, but sometimes it will gather around the lip or whatever, and this filter will trap that debris and not let it get onto the floor. I also have a 4-inch brush for getting details, a couple of clean dry rags, and a 16-inch T-bar applicator. It comes in 2 pieces. This is your applicator, and this is your refill, as they call it. It's 16 inches. It has a tapered end, which is great because you can get right around details. I mean, you can get around trim, you can get into corners, everything. It eliminates a lot of bending over and doing stuff with the hand brush. So you want to get one of these. And that'll make finishing your floor quick and easy.
You start applying your water-based urethane by pouring a line all the way down the floor. That way you've got plenty of material stretched out. And then you take your 16 or larger applicator and just snow plow it all the way down. Now when you snow plow it, that pushes finish off the edge, but it keeps your field smooth. Kind of like this. And you can see I'm snow plowing it, and it leaves that line. The excess urethane goes off into the next line. And because I've got a tapered end, I can get right up against the baseboard. See how I'm doing here? Get 100% coverage. It's called dapping. You dap off your extra finish, and then you go back in line, pull it all the way down the floor, and a snow plow. You plow it off so that excess urethane stays on that thick line, and that'll show you exactly where to do your next line. Again, do against the baseboard, and then plow it all the way down. And then you continue like this all the way across the room, pouring a little bit of finish at a time into a puddle, and when that's all gone, you grab your gallon and pour another line all the way down the floor, and then you start over till you get to the other side. What I love about this tapered applicator is you can get right up against this detailed shape here at the door jamb without having to do any edge work by hand with the brush. Your goal when putting down water-based urethane is to get 100% coverage, and then come back and smooth it out. So you can do any direction. You can go back and forth, up and down, it doesn't matter, as long as you come back and do that final smooth over.